Hey, this is Scott of photographybanzai.com. Today I'm going to talk about dynamic range. So I'm going to try something new and read out loud a section of this book that I wrote about dynamic range, and maybe you'll get an understanding of how it works. Dynamic range, or rather luminance range, is the limit at which our camera's light recording sensor can measure light intensity. Current sensor technology is not able to match the human eye, so we as photographers need to keep the range in mind of which our camera records extreme dark and extreme light aspects of a scene. If you blow past your camera's dynamic range, some of your image will be completely black or white, having lost all detail in those areas. That being said, keep over and underexposure in mind when taking photos. Sometimes you can recover detail in post-processing, sometimes you can't. When you see a scene, let's say you're out in Arizona, I have a lot of photos, I'll show you some examples as I'm talking. You've got a very bright sky and a very dark foreground or some area below where there's a lot of shadow. The difference between that shadow and your sky is a very large range of luminance. So you've got a really dark shadow on the ground because there's so many rocks around and things. And then you've got the extremely bright sky. There's no clouds, or maybe there's so much cloud coverage that the sky is completely white. That's even worse. So that's an example of an extreme dynamic range. On the reverse side, I have a photo with a really minimal dynamic range. It's probably really bland looking. There's not a large variation between the luminance. You can change your range in post-processing by modifying all of the settings that relate to brightness, contrast, a lot of different things. Dynamic range is an interesting concept to check out. I suggest you look more into that. Thanks.